Tonight, Australia's most senior Catholic facing historic sex offences, Cardinal Pell defies a media storm. 75 years since the bombing of Townsville. Big plans to fix the smelly eyesore on Magnetic Island. Sparks flying for 10 kilometres through traffic. Video of this Queensland driver's bizarre trip. Plus, the iconic Castle House goes under the hammer. You won't believe how much it's worth.
This is 9 News North Queensland with Samantha Heathwood.
Good evening. The murder trial of a Townsville man has taken a twist. The accused's ex-wife has given evidence saying her marriage broke down around her former husband's relationship with the woman he allegedly killed. And after the alleged stabbing, Dane Andrew Pilcher called her to say what happened.
Just stay with her and hold her or run, were the words of this woman, accused murderer Dane Andrew Pilcher's ex-wife. Catherine Pilcher told the Supreme Court she went into shock after getting a call from her ex-husband, sobbing, moments after he allegedly stabbed his former girlfriend Corinne Henderson to death. She said Mr. Pilcher was hysterical, saying Corinne wasn't breathing. She replied, "Call an ambulance." He said, "I can't, I've killed her." Mrs. Pilcher said her ex then revealed he'd stabbed Corinne and there was blood everywhere. She replied, "Hold her or run." Mr. Pilcher's ex-wife also told the court that it was an affair with alleged murder victim Corinne Henderson, which was the catalyst for their breakup. She found emails between the pair, demanded that they end the relationship, and when they didn't, she moved out of the family home. Corinne moved in. She was a colleague of Mr. Pilcher's, but the 18-month relationship was turbulent. The pair split up and Corinne moved out into her own Adalia apartment, where 5 weeks later she died, after Mr. Pilcher allegedly murdered her when he saw a Facebook photo of her with a new man. That night, this woman, flight attendant Karen Gillam, a friend of the accused, got a text message from him saying he would kill them both. Minutes later, Corinne was dead. Roanne Baldry, 9 News.
A year to the day, grandmother Beth Kippen was allegedly murdered in her Woolgaroo home. The case has been mentioned in court. The families say the judicial process has been frustratingly slow, but it's crucial to getting it right.
It's a tragedy that should never happen again, so we feel it's a duty on behalf of the community to make sure that we do the best we can to ensure that justice is being done.
The 81-year-old was allegedly killed by Anthony O'Keefe just hours after he was released on parole. Servicemen and civilians have remembered the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Townsville today. On this day in 1942, the sky was alive with Japanese planes.
It's a far cry from the same morning 75 years ago, when the sound of rumbling aircraft and bombs falling filled the air. But in typical North Queensland fashion, locals were pretty laid back about being under attack.
When the air raids went out, people were out dancing, out to parties, pouring out of hotels.
Veteran Keith Norton watched the whole thing unfold from his house at West End.
There was no panic in the town and no one rushing around madly. I think we were sitting on the front steps watching everything.
It was the first time the death and destruction of the Pacific reached home, though the bombing of Townsville's sole casualty was a coconut tree at Anoomba, where a plaque now stands. But the message it sent was clear. The war had reached our shores.
It was a very, very strange feeling to when you go to some of these areas where you know bombs dropped.
And while Townsville citizens thankfully escaped unharmed, the museum also recognised the tens of thousands of Australian defence personnel that didn't. Tom Fowles, 9 News.
In a Queensland first, a 17-year-old man has been charged for allegedly flying a drone over helicopters at the V8 supercars. Police seized the drone and arrested the man.
Where you have helicopters actively being used, one could draw the logical conclusion that this is a major safety issue.
He's now facing a fine of up to $25,000. A donger of dunnies that's caused some contention will finally be replaced. Construction will start immediately on a brand new toilet block on Horseshoe Bay.
It's a donger of dunnies labelled an ageing eyesore, a blight on the picturesque Horseshoe Bay foreshore, say locals.
For the last 6.5 years, we've been putting up with a demountable unit that was put there by Townsville City Council as an interim measure.
Rusting and smelly, it stood in for the previous facility, ravaged by Cyclone Yasi since 2011. The Grotty Potty, the only public toilet available for tourists to use. But now the council and the community have agreed upon the perfect spot to answer the call of nature.
The location of that block was actually changing from the far end of the beach where we were looking before to the intersection at the boat ramp at Pacific Drive and Horseshoe Bay Road.
And it won't be your normal public restroom. There will be disability compliant toilets and change rooms, but all within a design that won't just be a pit stop for public relief.
We're going to create a bit of an architectural feature around the back of the area that looks out onto the main entryway into Horseshoe Bay, and we're going to use it to create an entry statement.
Roanne Baldry, 9 News.
Now let's take a look at the average price of fuel in Townsville, where it's currently sitting on $1.23.1 a litre.